I made scientific magic. Chapter 4, The Reckless Die by Recklessness. Chapter 4, The Reckless Die from Recklessness. Blaney imagined in his mind that if he searched this cabinet without knowing it, the other party could launch a surprise attack by using the cover of his clothes, and if he failed, he could also jump out of the house along the window. This is easily the best hiding place in the whole house. Aware of this, Blaney drew his sword without the slightest hesitation. The sound of the sword's blade passing through the scabbard resounded in the house. Almost instantly, the silver-white sword pierced into the wooden cabinet like a knife into butter, and then the horizontal sword pulled, and the closed wooden cabinet was cut open. Sawdust was wrapped in rags and scattered in the air, but the expected ** scene did not appear. Blaney frowned slightly, unavoidably a little surprised. Did he make a mistake in his judgment? The goal this time was simply to leave these things in the house through carelessness. Andre on the side was taken aback by his companion, who suddenly drew the sword, and was about to laugh at Blaney's misjudgment. In the narrow gap formed by the bookshelf and the wall, a short sword suddenly protruded from the dark shadows, toward chop off Andre's neck. It was Lynn who did it. The moment Andre and Blaney found the coins and manuscripts on the table, Lynn knew that he couldn't hide this time. The narrow gap where he hides has no cover, only relying on shadows and visual dislocation as means of hiding. This is undoubtedly an extremely dangerous place, but the two of them came too fast. Lynn N, who had just gone through time travel and was extremely confused, had no time to find a more suitable place, let alone arrange it. Even the sheepskin that fell on the ground, there was no time to pack the paper rolls. Once the two find that there is no one hiding in the cabinet and search the house carefully, they will soon find themselves. So Lynn did not hesitate to do it. Considering the lethality, Lynn N did not use the ice blade that had been initially mastered and improved. The lethality of the short sword within 3 steps is far more reliable than the magic he mastered. The timing was right for Andre to relax at the sight of the flying sawdust. However, the sword that was bound to win was missed, and a strong sense of crisis surged into Andre's heart the moment Lynn made the move. Before joining the witch hunt, Andre was a well-known mercenary, wandering on the edge of life and death all year round. This feeling that goes deep into the bone marrow is very familiar to Andre. His keen intuition obviously saved him again. At the moment when the short sword slashed down, Andre deflected his body with all his strength, avoiding the end of being separated from his head. But Lynn's surprise attack came too fast. Even though Andre made an evasive action at the first time, he couldn't completely dodge it. The sharp short sword slashed across the neck, leaving a deep blood stain. Crimson blood kept gushing from the wound, and Andre was shocked and angry, and the pain from his neck warned him that he almost died. Bastard! Andre was furious, and he swung the knife with his right hand, trying to split Lynn N in half from top to bottom. The knife was so fast and heavy that Lynn N almost couldn't react, but his body naturally made a parrying movement. Under the sword, the tooth-piercing tearing sound echoed in the room. Before this, Lynn had never drawn a sword to cut people, but fortunately, his original body, Carl, was well trained, so the muscle memory of his body still existed. Carl relied on this excellent swordsmanship to frighten those malicious neighbors in the slums. But this time his opponent is not a bandit who lacks training, but a witch hunter who has taken the potion of divine grace, is far superior to ordinary people, and is fierce. Andre's sword technique was not systematic at all, but his moves were fierce. After only 3 collisions, Lynn N's tiger's mouth hurt for a while, and he almost couldn't hold the dagger in his hand. Die to me, Andre yelled, swung the long knife and swiped the short sword away, and stretched out his left hand with thick knuckles to hold Lynn's throat tightly. Lynn N, who was strangled by the neck, blushed, and his consciousness soon fell into a blur. Warning: the target of the agreement is seriously threatened. According to Article 37 of the Federal Intelligence Management Law, the nearest law enforcement officer will be automatically contacted. The reminder sound suddenly sounded in his mind, pulling Lynn N's consciousness back from the abyss of sinking, and a glimmer of hope rose in his heart involuntarily. Warning: no signal. Warning: not connected to the network. Please go to the highest nearby location as soon as possible, search for satellite signals, and call the federal emergency number in time. Fuck. Lynn N cursed secretly, and then remembered that he had already traveled through, and he couldn't even be sure whether he was in the same universe. Damn it, he should have saved the money he paid for the new ship and upgraded the intelligence of this crap. Where can he find satellite signals now? Even if it is it possible to let the federal police come to rescue him in a spaceship? But at this moment, Lynn N couldn't care less about regretting, and the hand holding his neck tightened little by little like a death god. Warning: no signal. Start emergency plan. Maximize survival probability analysis, based on user agreement, will connect to neural network by itself. The reminder sound in his mind became more and more urgent, but Lynn could no longer hear it. At this moment, he only felt that his brain seemed to explode, and his soul seemed to be separated from his body, looking at the world in a strange state. Lynn N's floating spiritual power continued to extend like ripples, and his perception of the elements became clearer. Ellipsis. Brunette hair, black eyes. It seems that I have found the wrong person. Seeing that Andre easily subdued the target, Blaine let go of the hand on the hilt, and turned to look at Lynn a few times. It's very capable, little mouse. It's better to cut off one hand and the next leg if you can hide like this, Andre said with a grin, and touched the bloodstain on his neck with his left hand. I don't know if it's an illusion, but Andre vaguely felt that he was not breathing well, and his anger kept rising. If it wasn't for the sudden realization that a living person is worth more than a dead person, Andre would have liked to kill Lynn N immediately. Blaney was not surprised by his companion's cruel proposal, and just casually reminded him. It's enough to chop off one hand, otherwise you can find a way to carry it back by yourself. Remember to be quick, and don't lose blood halfway to death. Andre, who had his back to Blaney, had no time to answer this meeting. His face was purple, and the long knife held in his left hand fell heavily to the ground. And his originally disordered breathing became more and more rapid. Like a dehydrated fish on the shore, the heart and lungs seemed to burst. 10 years ago, when the sea of mist was swallowed by the maelstrom, Andre had experienced this feeling of suffocation and dying. Breathing was completely a luxury. If he was not lucky enough, he might have died in the bottom of the sea. But it's not in the deep sea now, and the attack just now clearly didn't cut my trachea. Andre took a deep breath, but the situation didn't get any better. Instead, it got worse. A pair of grey eyes almost popped out of their sockets. What kind of witchcraft is this? Andre immediately realized that the wizard apprentice in front of him was playing tricks, but the strong suffocation reaction made him miss the opportunity to fight back. And the strength of the palm holding Lynn's neck became weaker and weaker. At the same moment, Lin, with his head lowered, suddenly moved, his closed eyes opened suddenly, and at the same time, the oxygen in his body was instantly evacuated. And a dagger pierced directly into Andre's body from bottom to top.